the way the world is going, technology is going to be a central facet of whichever industry you are going to be a part. The mobile link number, just as 0300 की आपने बात की, जो mobile link now Jazz, it was a prestige number. जिस ज़माने में 0300 numbers issue होते थे, the purchasing power of people who could afford a mobile phone was very high. किसी भी marginalized group को आप मौका दें, they will actually outperform people in the majority.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Ammaar bin Salim, your host, and welcome to the episode 2 of season 2 of Out Loud with Ammaar. It's my huge privilege to bring another eminent corporate leader to you, working at, I'd say, the biggest telecom company in Pakistan, Jazz. There's some remarkable work that they have done over there. At the same time, there's also his own personal journey, his own professional journey has a twist. He started off as a civil servant in Pakistan, and then he moved his role and then joined the corporate sector of Pakistan. There's a lot to learn. Please welcome Chief Business Officer at Jazz, Ali. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Ammaar. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast.
I'm so happy, and as I was telling you, I've been wanting to do this one for quite a while now. Thank you very much for finding time out of your schedule and joining us. Ali, I'm going to start with that same question जो मैं अक्सर हमेशा करता हूँ सबसे, कि what was your childhood like? What was your school like, university, college? And then also, how did you decide to join the civil service of Pakistan? And then why did you leave it?
That's a lot of questions, Ammaar, for one answer, so please bear with me. जिंदगी जो है ना वो ज़ाहिर आप प्लान करते हैं, कुछ आपकी ख्वाहिशात होती हैं, but obviously things overtake, circumstances change, and honestly for me बहुत ज़रूरी है, और मैं जब भी कोई एडवाइस मांगता है मैं कहता हूँ प्लान वेल. वो जिसमें पूरा अंग्रेजी की कहावत है ना कि मैन वो क्या God disposes, man proposes. So I think that's kind of how I would see my life. I always plan. मेरा हमेशा one of those people who's super organized, always tries to, obviously you can't plan for everything, but minimize and mitigate the risks. लेकिन साथ ही एक थोड़ी सी resilience build करनी बड़ी ज़रूरी है कि चीज़ें आपकी मर्जी के मुताबिक और आपकी ख्वाहिशात के मुताबिक नहीं होंगी. So I think that's the kind of mantra I live by. अल्लाह का बड़ा शुक्र है. I've had a very, very privileged and a very fortunate upbringing. I had a great family around me, friends, went to some of the best schools, learned a lot from some great teachers. उसके बाद मैं बाहर पढ़ने चला गया, and then again, did what I wanted to do. एक बड़ा interesting anecdote है कि जब मैं ग्रेजुएट करके आया अपनी अंडर ग्रेजुएट डिग्री से, तो मेरे वालिद ने मुझे कहा कि अच्छा तो अब क्या करना है. तो मैंने कहा जी नौकरी करनी है. उन्होंने कहा किस किस्म की नौकरी करनी है. मैंने कहा मैं ये भी कर सकता हूँ, ये भी कर सकता हूँ. 1990 था, उस जमाने में बैंकिंग बड़ी, एवरीवन वांटेड टू बी एन इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकर. एक फिल्म की वॉल स्ट्रीट आई थी, तो वो उसमें कैरेक्टर था गॉर्डन गेको, तो वो एवरीवन वांटेड टू बी दैट, राइट. सो मैंने कहा जी बैंकिंग भी कर सकता हूँ. So then he kind of goes कि अच्छा लेकिन तुम्हारी डिग्री जो है वो what does that equip you to do? So I'd done kind of political science, economics and philosophy at an undergraduate level. I thought about it. मैंने कहा actually मेरी डिग्री तो कुछ भी qualify करने को नहीं करती मुझे. I can't be a doctor, I can't be an accountant, I can't be an engineer. कहते क्या मतलब इतना पैसा खर्चा और ये डिग्री कुछ भी नहीं सिखाती. मैंने कहा नहीं ऐसी बात नहीं है. So my father was a civil servant, and I was the eldest son. उन्होंने कहा civil service के बारे में क्या ख्याल है. And mashallah, I'd seen his career and I had seen what he had been able to do and contribute. So मेरे image में या मेरे ख्याल में मेरे ज़हन में वो image था कि that's what civil service is all about. So I said कि जी ठीक है मैं इम्तिहान दे देता हूँ. खुशकिस्मती या बदकिस्मती, I was selected and started my service. I think the first 4 or 5 years were very exciting. The training, the inputs, जो आप यंग असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर होते हैं, मेरी केपीके में पोस्टिंग हुई थी, तो ट्राइबल एरियाज में इट वाज ऑलमोस्ट लाइक वो वाइल्ड वेस्ट होता है ना. तो एज अ यंग केपीके आई वाज असिस्टेंट कमिश्नर हंगू, एबटाबाद, then worked in Peshawar. So yeah, वो जिसे कहते हैं undergraduate degree London and his first professional job in
Yeah,
Hungary.
Peshawar.
लेकिन so that was great, learned a lot. देखें आप 24 साल के, you're in charge of a subdivision. There was about 300,000 people. There were
Right.
sectarian issues. There were law and order issues. Honestly, that experience either makes you or breaks you. If you survive that, your learning curve is so incredible that that's those are lessons that are valuable for life. So I did that. लेकिन जब मैं सेक्रेटेरिएट में आया तो उस वक्त मुझे थोड़ा सा फील हुआ कि शायद जो मेरे फादर की सिविल सर्विस थी वो अब नहीं रह गई थी, बहुत चेंजेस आ गई थी. एंड आई जस्ट फेल्ट it's still, public service is a great field, and I would encourage. I think आजकल तो लम्स वाले बहुत keen है इस पे. Every year we see toppers जितने हैं, they're all graduates. So clearly something is happening. And what I realized, others are feeling also, कि public service में एक बहुत value है, एक बहुत satisfaction है. Frustrations भी हैं, इसमें कोई शक नहीं. But really my decision for leaving the civil service after about 11 years was more driven by the fact that मुझे लगता था कि मैं और बहुत कुछ कर सकता हूँ. So it wasn't that I was dissatisfied or unsatisfied.
How old were you when you decided, yeah, I'm going to say goodbye to public service?
Yeah, so I think I joined the civil service in 92. 97 is when I decided this is not for me. But then I did not resign till 2003. So I kind of planned my exit. So मैंने पहले बात की थी ना कि it wasn't an emotional decision. 97 में I kind of said कि यार okay, I can't do this for the rest of my life. What do I need to do? और उसके लिए मुझे क्या करना है? Do I need to? So in the process, I accumulated a master's degree, did another professional sort of internship, and then kind of made my exit in 2003.
You must be around 33, 34 at that time?
Yeah, I was exactly 36.
36. अच्छा, I can only imagine कि मतलब उस वक्त क्या क्या आप पे गुजर होगा, because then there was this set career और उसको छोड़ना, इतने साल मतलब 10-11 साल काम कर लेना और फिर एक नया चीज ढूंढना, मतलब I think this is inspirational.
Yeah, and I think that kind of मेरे DNA में है. I enjoy and I thrive when I'm being challenged, and I get bored when I'm doing well. So one of those things. So I'm actually technically on my 4th career. जब मैं undergraduate पढ़ के आया तो CSS की तैयारी, वो एग्जाम हो चुका था. So I taught at Lahore College of Arts and Sciences for a year and a half. So I was a teacher. That was my first career. Then civil service was second. Then I joined corporate. I joined the tobacco sector for 13 years.
Lahore College for Arts and Science, that would be LACAS, right?
LACAS, yeah. And then tobacco for 13 years, and now telecoms for 6.
Telecom. Achha, but then we see, okay, mashallah, you spent another 12 years at British American Tobacco, and British American Tobacco, so you made a switch and then you joined Jazz. So, पहली बात ये कि मैं आजकल ये चीज देखता हूँ, and I don't say it's a bad thing. Probably it's a better thing to do in these days. लेकिन मतलब there's this hopping thing, but like 3 से 4 साल का experience, मतलब whenever we review CVs, we see it. तो एक बंदे ने 3-4 साल एक जगह काम किया, then they move. You worked at British American for 12 years. So, out of curiosity, what made you stick with that for so long? And then what made you decide, yaar, this is it, I'm going to call quits and I'm going to go to Jazz, which is not only a different company, but a different sector as well. Like, tobacco se telecom.
Well, they both start with T, so not much of a difference. But,
yeah, there's this one commonality.
Yes. So, Ammaar, again, there's certain कुछ चीजें होती हैं जो आपकी जिंदगी में इम्पोर्टेंट होती हैं. मेरे लिए ग्रोथ बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. तो 13 साल जो मैं BAT में था, I grew माशाल्लाह phenomenally well. When I left BAT, I think it's fair to say I was the highest ranking Pakistani in the group in BAT. But my growth had kind of plateaued. There weren't too many other steps to go beyond that. So growth सिर्फ promotions और पैसों की नहीं होती. Growth आपकी evolution, your mental faculties and your experiences की होती है. So उस वक्त when I decided to leave BAT in 2015, question was what do I do? और सबसे आसान choice थी अगर आप tobacco छोड़ के जाएं तो adjacent industries which are tightly regulated, pharmaceuticals, insurance, banking. So some offers came, some were half decent. But मैंने काम किया, मैंने कहा यार I'm going to not look for a job. I mean, there was a gardening leave, so I had the privilege के मुझे अगले महीने नई नौकरी ढूंढनी. So I kind of said that I'm going to use my garden leave by actually figuring out what do I want to do. So मैंने बहुत सी किताबें खरीद के पढ़नी शुरू कर दी, बहुत से लोगों को मिलना शुरू कर दिया, not with the intention कि आप मुझे जॉब देंगे, but with the intention कि जी दुनिया कहाँ जा रही है, what are the future trends, what's happening, what is it that I have the ability to do. अगर कल को मैं फैसला करता कि मैंने brain surgeon बनना, maybe that would not have been possible at that stage. But I kind of figured out, the one conclusion I came to was that the way the world is going, technology is going to be a central facet of whichever industry you are going to be a part of. So I said, rather than me looking for different sectors, let's focus on emerging technologies and let's focus on companies that are going to be involved with technology. So it wasn't telecom specifically, but I made a very clear decision that I will not accept a job offer other than in sort of the general technology sector. And then when I started looking, Jazz found out, I was still in Hong Kong at the time. Through some friends, I found out there was an opening. I applied and joined in April 2016. It's been more than 6 years now.
6 years, right? बिल्कुल सही. अच्छा Ali, one question. You said कि आपने काफी सारी किताबें पढ़ना स्टार्ट कर दी. Did that help you? Like, मतलब significantly किताबों ने आपको क्या हेल्प किया? Because this is a debate going on. मतलब मैं भी कब से कहते हैं किताब पढ़ो, लेकिन इसके बाद आगे से मुझे ज्यादा बहुत सुनने को मिलते हैं क्या पढ़ें किताब, कितनी पढ़ें किताब, यार नहीं फायदा हो रहा है. So I just wanted to hear your point of view.
So I think there are two schools of thought on that. I have a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old, right? They hardly read. They get their knowledge from the web, from YouTube, from different sources. They don't read, even though they read on
online
those things, online or whatever. But honestly, those are more related to their either degrees or their fields of study. When I say reading, it's not कि मैं कोई self improvement guides या how to executive MBA guides. When I read actually very diverse, depending on the mood I'm in. At any one given point in time, I'll probably read 4 or 5 books simultaneously. और उसमें ये होता है कि depending on the mood of the day, if I've had a really tough day, then I'll pick a light read. If I've had a relaxed day and I'm in the mood of philosophy, I'll pick philosophy or religion or whatever. If I don't want to tax my mind too much, I'll pick history. So it's kind of मेरी bedside table में 4-5 किताबें at a given time पढ़ी होती. For me, reading is, and you can do that on the web also, to be fair. I'm just old school and I like reading books. मेरे लिए जो reading है ना, वो है, it's about connecting the dots. It's not about कि आप एक किताब पढ़ के उसमें से कोई निचोड़ निकालते हैं. उससे आपके जहन में ideas instigate होते हैं. And you start to make connections that you may not be very obvious at the time, but as you read 2 or 3 different books, you kind of relate it back one to the other. For me, that's very exciting.
Right. Achha, Ali, now talking about a bit about the education sector in Pakistan. There's this one question. एक तो हम अक्सर देखते हैं कि यार education में degree ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है, skills ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So there's this one debate. I would like to have your take on that as well. At the same time, आजकल जो हमारे graduates हैं, if they're graduating from some of the most eminent universities, let's say Islamabad में NUST है, Karachi में IB है, there are a couple in Lahore, even in Peshawar. So they're good universities, students graduating with remarkable CGPAs, through the roof CGPAs. But do you think that's enough for them to survive the corporate pressure? What's your point of view, and what sort of skills do you think they should be gathering, they should be polishing while they're still pursuing their undergrad program?
So Ammaar, honestly, now with 30 years of experience, both in the public and private sector, both in Pakistan, abroad. I've had the pleasure and privilege of working in 3 different countries, and have lived in 6, and I've traveled to another 45. मेरे ख्याल में 3 चीजें आपको एक सक्सेसफुल ह्यूमन बीइंग बनने के लिए जरूरी है. I wouldn't say a professional or a career. I think if you are a successful human being, you will create your own space. आप जहां भी जाएंगे, जिस फील्ड में भी जाएंगे, जिस शोबे में भी एक्सेल करेंगे. And obviously goes without saying कि effort underlies all of that, right? ये फिल्मों की मिथ है कि जी आप बहुत ब्रिलियंट हैं और आप सडनली $1 billion यूनिकॉर्न बना लेंगे. Even Mark Zuckerberg, I don't know his story other than the movie, but I'm pretty sure उसने बहुत मेहनत की है जिंदगी में. But I think the 3 things that are important that I have seen, I've certainly benefited from them myself, is having or developing a high IQ. So that basically means that degree is not an end in itself. Degree जो होती है, I would still say is important because it basically lays down the foundation कि आपकी जो सारी जिंदगी की ग्रोथ है और एजुकेशन है उसको बड़ी एक सॉलिड फाउंडेशन दे देती है. ठीक, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ EQ, इमोशनल कोशेंट, भी उतना ही जरूरी है. बिकॉज पीपल जो बहुत ब्रिलियंट होते हैं बट विद अ लो EQ, then they struggle to communicate or articulate that knowledge in a format that creates an impact. And I think I would throw in a third quality that is absolutely critical and getting more important as time goes on, is resilience. Because you will get knocked down. And I think my parents' generation probably had less of that. हमें थोड़ा ज़्यादा हुआ. Our kids will have double of the sort of X factor, और वो जो जैसे कहते हैं ना black swan events. You don't predict, you don't know where they're going to come from, and you don't know what to do with them. So I think the ability to face those almost known unknowns and still be able to bounce back is a massive, massive quality that people need to have. So EQ, IQ, and R. I think ये 3 चीजें हैं. Degrees help, education helps, so does experience. I know a lot of people who don't have degrees but have had wonderful experiences in life that have built IQ, EQ, and resilience. So for me, that's whether it's a degree or whether it's a skills or an experience, what you really need to see is, are you building IQ, EQ, and resilience? Either route is fine.
I think your take resonates with Amir Paracha's as well. मैं उनका एक podcast सुन रहा था, and he was saying the same thing कि CGPA is going to help you get a job, get admitted to a company. Then वहाँ से आगे जाना, it's up to you. मेरा थोड़ा सा again opinion पे थोड़ा सा different हो जाता है आमिर से. It's मतलब university education or education जो भी आपने लियो, it doesn't just stay till the door of you getting a corporate job. वहाँ पे रुक नहीं जाता. It goes beyond, because then उसमें आपकी personality भी develop हो चुकी होती है. The way you look at different things वो भी हो चुका होता है. And the way you manage things. But again, Amir, kabhi main sun raha tha, and what you said, कि resilience is very important because there are going to be setbacks, and the way you manage them, they're also going to help describe the kind of person you are.
Absolutely.
So, isme now bringing the discussion a bit towards jazz. So, jazz के हम देखते हैं कि it's a very a developed organization, mashallah, से very well established in Pakistan. लेकिन कभी कभी इसको समझने में, to understand the target audience, मुझे थोड़ा सा difficulty होती है. हम यूफोन को देखते हैं, they were targeting their ads at youth. और पाकिस्तान की वैसे भी अगर population को understand किया जाए, so a huge chunk of the whole population is youth. बच्चे जो कि 20 साल के, 22 साल के या less than that. तो उनके ads को भी देख के हमें लगता था कि यार ये मतलब focus करते हैं अपने youth के ऊपर. जैज की जब हम आइडेंटिटी देखते हैं, आई एम नॉट एग्जैक्टली श्योर, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जैज की ओवरऑल जो इंक्लिनेशन है दैट इज टुवर्ड्स द कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर या जो भी एग्जीक्यूटिव्स होते हैं उनकी तरफ. एंड आई कैन आल्सो शेयर अ स्टोरी विद यू. व्हेन आई वाज डूइंग माय प्रोफेशनल एमबीए, तो उस वक्त देयर वाज दिस एक्सपीरियंस दैट वी वर टोल्ड ऑफ. इस तरह की एक्टिविटी रखी गई थी क्लास के अंदर जहां पे स्टूडेंट्स वर मेकिंग रैंडम कॉल्स टू रैंडम पीपल, एंड वो जब किसी और नंबर से कॉल करते थे, सो द पर्सन wouldn't pick up, But जब आप उनको 0300 के कोड से कॉल करते थे, they would naturally pick up. And when they asked कि भाई आपने, what was the reason for you behind you picking that call up, and they said कि हमें लगा शायद कोई जरूरी बात है, कोई जरूरी बंदा on the other side. And I was like,
Sure.
wow, मतलब, is it even possible to associate that identity with a mobile number code? So what do you have to say on that? कौन सी असल
No,
audience?
I was not aware of that exercise or study, but I think that that reflects very well what jazz is all about. Deccan Jazz is and has been the market leader for the last 25 years. So,
Right.
and not only are we market leaders, we've this last year we grew faster than any other competitor. So, being the largest player and growing faster than all three, the other three actually
And making a
means.
grin on your face as well while you say that.
Sure, absolutely, because we worked hard at it. We're very proud of that. Okay, when jazz has a legacy of 25 years, which is longer than any of our competitors, you're obviously going to have a generational swing, right? So the mobile link number, just the 0300 ki aapne baat ki, jo mobile link now jazz, was a prestige number. Jis zamane mein 0300 numbers issue hote the, the purchasing power of people who could afford a mobile phone was very high. So by default, if you have a 0300 number, that means aap sahib haisiyat or important person in your right, whether it's public service or private service or corporate. Having said that, business में हमारा जरूर footprint बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा है. So जो हमारा consumer में market share है, corporate और enterprise market में उससे तकरीबन 1.5 गुना ज़्यादा है on the business corporate and enterprise side. So I think आपकी जो feeling है कि we're stronger on corporate is not misplaced. But honestly, youths, young people, a lot of our products are used by very young people. That's the growth area. Pakistan ki population, aapko pata hai, 64% is below the age of 24. So if we have to be cognizant of growth, hame us segment ko bhi address karna hai, and that's what we're trying to do. So you mentioned that Jazz is a big telecom, or one of the biggest telecoms. We're actually the largest, or one of the largest unlisted businesses in the country of any sector, not just telecoms. So Jazz, mashallah, is quite big. And I think I'll end this kind of Jazz plug on a different note, which is to say that we are now recognizing that our role in Pakistani society goes way beyond being the largest and the most efficient or the best telecom operator. There's now a responsibility to really support the digital ecosystem, which is blossoming in Pakistan.
Right.
And we've taken it upon ourselves, okay, whether it's for commercial gains or not, we'll be the ambassadors, the advocates of sort of Digital Pakistan. So Digital Pakistan hashtag is owned by Jazz. DigitalPakistan.com is owned by Jazz, because we're doing a lot of stuff that is not linked to Jazz per se, but हमारा ख्याल है कि digital ecosystem बेहतर होगा तो जाहिर है Jazz के fortunes tied हैं. But a progressive, digitally progressive Pakistan is our vision, and that's what we're working on.
And I think जिन भी organizations का ये point of view रहा है to give back to the society, to create a better image of the country and better image of all, and actually better projection of all those things that need to be projected, वो नजर आ जाता है. I remember I was speaking with Sadaf Zarar. She works at Coke, और मैं उस वक्त उनसे I was trying to understand कि Coke studio बनाने की क्या reason. So उस वक्त मुझे वो जो उनका जो सारा rationale, I was so impressed with it, to just create an identity for everyone कि पाकिस्तान में बेहतर क्या हो रहा है, पाकिस्तान की एक identity through music. And again, मुझे लगता है कि वही वाली बात जैसे आपने भी बताया कि 64% of the market is consisting of those who are less than 24 years of age. तो एक जो young लोगों को जो एक association देनी है with the brand, that is significant for sustainability as well. So एक point तो ये, Ali, there's also this topic and this matter that is very, very close to my heart. Even at LAMS, we are trying to make sure that there's a gender balance. There's a gender balance in students. There's a gender balance in the staff that we have, in the faculty that we have. So I would also, and I know for sure that Jazz to karta hai, but if you could talk about a couple of your own initiatives that you have taken to maintain that there is also women leadership in jazz.
Absolutely. So Amar, it's not a nice to have. It's not an optics thing. It's not a PR thing.
Mm-hmm.
Any country, any organization, any entity for that matter, that does not use the talents of half of its population is doing something wrong. I mean, that's just nonsensical, right? So the fact that women are underrepresented in so many circles is something we need to address. ये इसलिए नहीं कि कोई equity play है या affirmative action है, इसलिए कि सबका फायदा है इसमें. So at Jazz, we have tons of initiatives. I don't want to bore you with the details, but I think two that we are now very keen on is to एक हमने returnship शुरू की है, because what we realize is कि unfortunately हमारी societal pressures ऐसे हैं कि working mothers, जो मेरे ख्याल में I think the hardest working species in the world, because वो दफ्तर में भी काम करती हैं and घर आके भी सारा घर का काम करती हैं और बच्चों की भी वो, so it's like 3 jobs, they're running 3 jobs. But working mothers, our expectation is that even if they have a woman has a successful career, once she starts or decides to go into motherhood, she'll have to take a career break. और उसमें फिर पाकिस्तान में बाहर भी मुश्किल है, पर पाकिस्तान में बहुत ज़्यादा मुश्किल है उनके लिए वापस आना at the same level. They either have to take as they say, go to a level lower, maybe even drop the pace and kind of go in a slower lane, so to speak. So we've started a program where we're giving working mothers who've now chosen or wanting to come back an opportunity, and we take them back at the same level they left the organization to see how they do. Some of them will fare well and will succeed. Others may actually feel, you know what, I'm going to be a homemaker because I think that adds more value to me and society. So that's a choice that we've created. I think the other thing, honestly, falls not on the women, but everyone else in society. और मैं बहुत देखता हूँ, शायद जो मैंने अरसा बाहर स्पेंड किया वो आप सेंसिटाइज ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं. हमें जो people, and this by the way is not limited to gender, this is all sort of minority segments, all marginalized groups. Jazz ki most recent campaign is about pushing the agenda for transgenders.
Right.
And that we've seen that or not. And again, that's in that theme that we need to embrace diversity. Usme again strength hai. वो diversity चाहे gender की हो, equity की हो, social class की हो, किसी भी marginalized group को आप मौका दें. मेरे experience में जो लोग marginalized होते हैं उनमें desire to excel बहुत ज़्यादा होती है. And if you give them a little bit of runway, they will actually outperform people in the majority. So I think that's what we need to do in Pakistan, and I hope it catches on and other people do whatever they're doing in their own bits. But I feel passionately about this as well, and Jazz, mashallah, is doing a lot of stuff in this area.
Thank you, Ali. I really believe that it's not just optics, because we have been doing it, and I realize it's not just optics. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be improved, and that is why we've taken initiatives. Companies like yours, organizations like ours, we really need to be torchbearers, not only in this direction, but directions where, about all those things that we haven't previously talked about. So thank you so much, Ali, for joining us today. I really appreciate your presence, and I am sure for all those people who will be listening to the podcast, there's a lot to learn, and they will inshallah learn. And at the same time, I'd like to remind my audience that yes, in the previous podcast episode, I would really appreciate that aap usko bhi jaake dekhein. That was about the youth in Pakistan and what can be done, and should they be pursuing a career, education, or professional outside Pakistan. In the US, we had Mr. Waleed Shahid from Schneider Electric, Los Angeles, and inshallah, in the next one, we'll have our guest, Mr. Imran Ghazali, used to be the general manager at the digital media wing in Pakistan. So thank you very much, and thank you so much, Ali, for being with us.
Welcome.